That day requires preparation. Yawm al-Qiyamah requires from us what? We have to get ready for it. This situation is so severe that the woman would give birth and she's unaware of her giving birth. Because of that day, the whole of Yawm al-Qiyamah. She'll drop her load and she'll keep moving. The child that's in her. The ayah says, وَتَرَى النَّاسَ سُكَارَى. You're going to see the people that day as though they are drunk. وَمَا هُمْ بِسُكَارَى. They're actually not drunk. وَلَكِنَّ عَذَابَ اللَّهِ شَدِيدٌ. But the punishment of Allah is what, brothers? It's very, very severe. Wallahi, if the people were to know what they are created for and what's waiting for them on the other side, wallahi, they wouldn't have gone to sleep and they would not have rested. If you knew what is waiting on Yawm al-Qiyamah, fi arasati Yawm al-Qiyamah, and the things that's going to take place that day. Abu Bakr, one day he was sitting next to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he said to him, Abu Bakr was the Prophet's very close friend. He always used to spend time with the Prophet. So he knew anything that changed about the Prophet's face or his body, he would know it because he was always spending time with him. So one day he looked over his shoulder and he saw the Prophet and he said to him, Ya Rasulullah, araka qad shibt. O Messenger of Allah, I can see you're aging. I can see some white hair coming into your beard. And the Prophet said, Shayyabatni Hudun wa akhawatuha. Surah Hud, that talks about Yawm al-Qiyamah and the Day of Judgment. And its other sisters, the other surahs in the Quran, like Surah Al-Waqi'ah and other surahs like that. Those are the surahs that have caused me to be like this. Keeping in mind that the Messenger is forgiven for every sin and every mistake he ever came with. But with that being said, he used to be very concerned about that day. Just before he passed away, the last week on this earth that the Prophet ﷺ had spent, he advised his Sahabas. He spoke to them. He gave them words that he believed, ﷺ, that is going to bring them closer to Allah and distance them from the hellfire. He told them everything that they needed to know. And one of the things that he said to them was, he said, Halummu ilayya, bring to me, when you come, bring for me something, a note paper or a pen, bring something. Aktubu lakum, so it can be written for you guys. Something that will prevent you from the hellfire and make you be from the people of Jannah. Like saving it. Umar radiallahu anhu looked at the Prophet and he said to the Sahabas, the Prophet is sick. The Prophet is not feeling very well. You can see the fever on the Prophet's face, alayhi salatu wasalam. He said, let's not ask the Prophet to write anything. Let him rest. The other Sahabas like Abdullah ibn Abbas and others, they wanted that knowledge. So they quarreled and they argued back and forth and they went at each other until their voices went loud and loud and loud in the presence of the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam. And the Prophet said, Qumu anni, all of you leave me, leave me, leave me. I do not want you guys to give me headache. And they left. Aisha, as you know, he spent the last days of his life on this earth in the house of his wife Aisha. Aisha said, as I was looking at him, he looked up into the sky and he said, the Prophet ﷺ, he said, Allahumma gfirli warhamni. Oh Allah, forgive me and have mercy on me. Wa alhiqni bis salihin, and allow me to be with the righteous people. The Prophet is saying this. And then he said, ila rafiq al-a'la, I want to be high above with you. I want to leave this world. As you know, the prophets, they get given the choice if they want to stay on this earth or if they want to go to the other side. They get given the choice. So Aisha said, the minute those words came out of his mouth, I knew that he chose what? He chose the hereafter over us. Fatima started to cry. She started to cry, as Anas ibn Malik mentioned. She cried whilst he was sick because she could see the agony of death on the Prophet's face. He was sweating severely. She kept saying, Wa abatah, my father, the kurb and the distress that's on him. And he said to her, Laysa ala abiki karbun ba'da al-yawm. Your father from today onwards, there's not going to be any stress on him. Yani he's going to be with Allah. All of this is going to come to an end. And then when she died, when he died, when the Prophet died, she said, Ya abatah, ajaba rabban da'ah. Ya abatah, man jannatul firdawsi ma'wah. Ya abatah, ila Jibreel nan'ah. When Anas ibn Malik returned back from the burial and he came to the Prophet, he came by Fatima's house. Anas, he just buried the Prophet. So they will come, Anas ibn Malik was coming back home. And as he was coming back home, he went by Fatima's house. Fatima saw him. She came close to Anas and she said, Anas, أطابت أنفسكم أن تحثوا على رسول الله التراب. How did your nafs allow all of you guys to pour sand over the Prophet's body and his face? And it started to cry. And so did Fatima radiallahu ta'ala anha. Every part of the Prophet's life, my brothers, was about that day, the day of judgment. He saw the Sahabas one time laughing. He said, لو تعلمون ما أعلم لضحكتم قليلا ولبكيتم كثيرا. If you guys knew what I know, if you guys were aware of what I am aware, the knowledge I have of that day and the meeting of Allah and what's going to take place, your laughter would be very little and your crying would be a lot. There's a narration that mentions that there's an angel who is the treasurer, or he has the keys to the hellfire. His name is what? Malik. Malik, the day Allah created the hellfire, that was the last day he ever smiled, they said. When he saw this, that's it. That angel did not smile. So my brothers and sisters, that day requires preparation. For us, we've forgotten about that day. All of those are going to be questioned in the day of judgment. Your fingers, your hands, your everything. Even the earth is going to witness against you.